When I reflect back on my life, it's almost like reading a novel. The words and the places are all familiar, it's just I'm not the same. I've lived my life on paper, from social service reports to Crown Court transcripts, and it's quite difficult to find the balance in there in who you really are and how society sees you. When I was 16, I accidentally started a police investigation by going to the doctors. I found that patient confidentiality only goes so far, and when you are perceived to be at risk, then they intervene. So about a month after that, I ended up running away from home. And I found myself at 19 years old in a Crown Court, one that was on Judge John Deed that I had seen many times but never expected to be in. So while I was there, words were being thrown around like child torture and paedophilia, and they kind of took me aback a bit because I knew my family was a little dysfunctional, but they were my family. After court finished, I found myself struggling with who I was without all of my childhood behind me, and I felt very weighed down upon, and I really wasn't coping, so I reached out and I started having therapy. And I had a year of therapy with Mind, the best therapist I've ever had, and then I changed over to have psychology. And during this, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder, which, being put in a label, was pretty strange, but it fit. However, the way people perceive borderline personality disorder isn't ideal. If you Google the condition, it's going to tell you that the disorder is either going to make you a murderer or you're going to commit suicide. The suicide rate for BPD is 1 in 3, which was scary. I guess in a way I've kind of accepted everything and I'm taking it in my stride, and I'm using it to become the person who should have been there for me. And then I can hopefully be there for many other people and children in the future. I'm currently studying nursing, almost finished. This is an access course. This is my 3rd time attempting college. I dropped out the first 2 times due to court and police investigations and everything just getting a bit too overwhelming. And since then I've moved out of my mother's house, who I moved in with when I was 17, and she supported me through court. And now I live on my own. And within this year, I think I've developed the most. So I used to be terrified of everything. A loud noise outside, it's like I would hear it inside and I'd be terrified. You could fold socks at me in an angry way and I would apologize. But now I'm slowly learning that not everyone in the world is bad, but there are a few. And if you can spot the way that they treat you and spot the way that they hold themselves, then you are more aware of the implications of any form of abuse in children. It just develops and escalates into so much more. So despite being technically the only support network I had, I managed to find little support systems in loads of different organisations. So, for example, I live at the YMCA, and there is always someone downstairs that I can talk to if I need to, and there's groups, and obviously the ability to do this and reach out to other people was done through the YMCA, and my college have been amazing and patient with me. I'm not particularly the best student, my attendance isn't 100%, but they understand that I try and I struggle with a lot of things, but I'm constantly trying to overcome them and be better. And that is made to be able through all these organisations, and Mind as well are really great. They taught me that people always say the step in recovery is forgiveness, and that used to anger me to a huge degree, thinking that I would have to forgive them for what they've done to me so I can move on. And then I started thinking about it a bit more, and I realised that even though I had left that house, I was continuing a constant battle of abuse on myself. The way I would treat myself, if I had seen someone talking to someone else the way I talked to myself, I would be angry. And I've learned that I've had to forgive me, not because I did anything wrong, but because the way I handled things and the way I would avoid things and the way I would treat myself as if it was my fault, and how I internalized all of the things that were said to me growing up, and I believed them. And now I'm learning that I am not what they made me, and I am not what has been done to me, and I'm so much more. Leaving that environment gave me the ability to grow that I never thought I would be able to do. I never expected to reach this age, let alone to have the choice on what I'm going to do with it. And I never thought I would make it to uni. I never thought I would make it through college. I was always told growing up that I was stupid and that I was nothing, and that I was just a waste of oxygen that even a mother can love. But despite that, I have found people who are in similar situations to me, and we are all growing and developing together because we all will reach out to each other when we need to. And I'm taking my experience not as something to weigh me down and to break me apart, which at times it does, but to push me forward and be better than statistically I'm meant to be. And to quote my therapist, I'm going to take what's left and make it amazing. So what I would like people to take from this, if they take anything at all, is that it really doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what your beginning is. If you decide to change, and if you decide to go on that road that nobody else does and just start a whole new life for yourself, it is possible. And even if it takes losing everything, which at times it does, at least you can rebuild yourself from what's left.